One off day doesn't ruin progress, quitting does. And that's why today we are talking all about consistency. Welcome back, everyone, to Sugar Not Included. I'm Teresa here with my sister, Kristina.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. And yes, like Teresa talked about, today we're going to focus on the number one tip to help you with your weight loss journey. And this recording is coming out not as a coincidence. This is coming out the third week of January, which for statistically a lot of people who have New Year's resolutions, this is typically when people tend to start dropping off and kind of giving up and saying, you know what? Maybe I didn't want to do that for New Year's resolution anyways, but we are here to help reinvigorate you, to help get you back on that goal that you had set for yourself with the number one tip, which is consistency. And what does that actually look like? We're going to break it down to 3 steps for you to help keep you going so you can achieve the goal this year. So the 3 tips that we're going to go over is number one, we're going to talk about logging your food. Teresa has some really good tips and some suggestions to help you do this so it's not such a torturous feat for you to do. And then the second tip we're going to talk about is movement, how you can stay active without it being torturous for your body. And then the third one we're going to talk about is checking in with yourself, because oftentimes we don't do that on a regular basis, and it's super important for you to do this in order for you to stay successful. So over to you, Teresa, to talk about the number one tip and the first step on how that happens.
I know a lot of people struggle with logging food, or they, like me, I would have on my phone all of those logging apps.
Yeah.
And for me, that just was not, it just was too time consuming for me. Uh, so for me, I was like, how can I just make this a lot simpler and something that I can easily jot down? So like for me, I just bought a cute little planner. So like I love a little planner that's
Dude,
like
that
just
is
simple. I can
cute.
stick
I
it.
love it.
Yeah, super cute. Yeah. And I mean, any excuse really to go buy a cute little
Yeah. I hear you,
notepad.
girl. I hear
Yes.
you.
Um, but yeah, logging food I think is important because sometimes we can be under eating or overeating. A lot of times for me, I'd be like, man, I hardly eat. And then I would get curious and I would start writing down. And then I'm like, oh, I'm actually eating way more than what I thought. I like to, what I notice is when I make my kids' food, and if they don't eat all of their food, or as I'm making their food, I kind of will like bite some of their food. And sometimes we don't think those little bites do add up. And so I would just get curious. So I bought my journal, and without judgment, I would just be like, oh, a few bites here, a few bites here. And then after a while, it becomes data that you can go
Mhm.
back and look at and be like, oh, okay, maybe I am eating a lot more sugar than what I realize, or I'm not eating enough protein. So logging your food, and not in a punishing or judgmental way, but more of curious of
Mhm.
what are you eating? And again, it doesn't have to be um, every little tiny thing that, sometimes I eat chicken salad, and inside my salad I have, a ton of things.
Mhm.
I just write down chicken salad, and you know
Yeah.
you can go into as much detail as you want, but again, it doesn't have to be this overwhelming thing. Because for me, those apps are just so overwhelming,
Mhm.
having to put every little thing in, and I just feel like that's so time consuming. I mean, if
It
that's
is.
for
Yeah.
you,
It can be. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it totally can be. If that works for you, awesome, great. Um, but just writing it down in a simple journal can be really powerful. Another way to log food is simply just taking a quick picture of it. Going back and looking through your photos can be kind of powerful, seeing those
That's a
photos
good
of,
that's a
oh,
good
this
suggestion.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so busy. I just, I don't have time to log it, or maybe I forgot my journal, so I'll just take a quick pic. And sometimes that's powerful too, to go back and see all the food you ate in one day, and you're like, oh
Hmm.
wow, or okay, maybe I'm not eating as much.
Yeah.
So I am, do you log your food, Christina,
I
on any
haven't.
apps or anything?
I used to do the apps, and it became, because I was looking at it more as like perfection. I wanted to log absolutely
Hmm.
every single little thing. And so I started almost like abusing it to the point where it was just all consuming, like no pun intended, that I was just trying to log every little thing like you talked about. Like if I made myself a salad, then I was spending 20, 30 minutes trying to log every single ingredient. And it just made it
Hmm.
very miserable. And it really started like allowing it to control everything. And so I like your attitude as far as it's not judgment. It's not, it's just like keeping track of it to be aware. You're not logging it to show how
Yeah.
good you are. You're logging it to be aware of what you're consuming and not having that judgment. So I have it. I'll do it periodically because primarily my focus is I want to make sure I'm consuming enough protein, and so I'll do it
Yeah.
periodically just to say like, okay, am I staying on track or not with my protein? And then what's my okay? Oh, like oh, actually, I'm not consuming as much protein as I thought I was. And then I'll go and figure out ways where I can get more protein, either by having more an extra protein shake or incorporating more like chicken breast or something like that. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, using it more as a check-in with myself instead of every minutia, every little detail
Yes.
constantly being logged. And again, like you said, for some people they like doing that. That's incredible, but uh, being aware of when it's you're kind of getting to the point where it's maybe becoming a little bit kind of defeating the purpose of what it's really supposed to be there for, which is to help you just be aware of your eating habits and not judging yourself about it. So that was what I would say about logging. It is very good as long as it's being there used as a tool to help you and you're not allowing it to control every little thing that you're eating during the day.
Yes, yeah, definitely. It's as a tool and not something to control you.
Yeah.
It's just there to, and again, I think coming at it as curiosity. Put that detective hat on. It's being curious
Mm-hmm.
of, because sometimes, like, I don't know, by the end of the day, I cannot remember what I ate at the beginning of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time I'm like, what
Right.
did I eat?
Yeah.
So, and sometimes those mindless eats that you don't even realize that you're eating, like as you're cooking. So just, and sometimes just, again, being that curious of like, oh, and then when you start kind of noticing, again, it's not judgmental, it's just noticing, oh, okay, maybe I am eating a lot more, or I'm not drinking enough water. So that also goes into kind of keeping track of your water,
Yeah,
where
true.
some days I'm like, oh yeah, I think I had water, and then I'm like, oh, actually, I didn't drink as much water as what I had thought. Again, so yeah, I think logging, and in a way that's loving and caring and just being curious, I think that's where we want to come from, and
Yeah.
not in that judgmental way, or and again, it's not, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be, um it doesn't, it can be messy. If you forget a meal, then that's fine. Just log the next meal or the next thing you remember, or
Right.
even guessing like,
Yeah.
oh, I had a little bit of this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's kind of just getting in that habit of checking in with yourself with, yeah, what you're eating, and
Yeah.
how, I think, how you're eating.
Well, and I just
Yeah.
remembered, like, it's kind of funny, but and let me know, listeners, if you've done this before. I love to log my food when I'm doing good, right? But like if I
Hmm.
have like an off day, I don't want to log that. Like somehow logging it is like, so I challenge you to. logging, even on your bad days, whatever bad day means for
Yes.
you, is where the magic happens. And again, because it's not there to judge you, it's just there for you to be aware of what's going on. Because also it might help you discover patterns, eating patterns, or
Yeah.
things are going on, craziness in your life, your cycle, whatever is going on. This is just, again, like Teresa talked about, a data point for you. And logging the stuff, even if you don't even want to admit that you ate it, can kind of just help you. And just, again, if you are not wanting to log it, stop there and check in with yourself. Like why are you ashamed of this? Why are you, maybe there's some judgment there that you can kind of explore a little bit, that you can let go of that,
Hmm.
because this is not to torture you. These are tools to help you. And again, we're all kind of guilty of taking these tools and abusing them in a way that they're not really intended to do. So I would say, even on your bad days, log it. And I challenge you to just love yourself even more on those bad days, because they happen to everybody. And just being okay, like Teresa talks about, no judgment. That is where the magic happens for you. Just putting it on
Yes.
there. And then, yeah, like you said, if even if you can't quite remember exactly, guessing is still better than just skipping and just pretending it didn't
Hmm.
happen. So yeah, but yeah, let me know if anybody else has ever done that. We're like, I'm not gonna log this
Oh my
because
gosh, that is
have you done
because
that?
I don't know, it becomes, yeah, like
Okay.
where I've had a cookie and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to write that down because it almost
Yeah,
it I don't know.
yeah,
It becomes like, oh, like real, but I don't know,
yeah,
even though I really ate it.
yeah. It's not like your
But
body. Like, oh, you didn't log it. Okay, I'm not gonna.
like
It's
it
not
doesn't,
gonna count.
I don't want it to count for some
Right.
reason.
Yeah.
But then that's, yeah, I love what you just said. Like that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't long to be good, you long to be aware.
Yes. Exactly.
And a lot of the times I feel like where you don't want to log, that's where you're like, oh, I want, yeah, asking yourself
Yeah.
why you probably ate it in a way that you probably maybe weren't hungry, or
Mm-hmm.
and again that is really good. You're wanting to become starting to be aware of
Right.
maybe if you were in a bad mood, what you really needed was rest or a break, an
Yeah.
actual break, and not so writing those things down, and again in a non-judgmental way of more being curious,
Yeah.
then you can start just maybe being aware, oh, this is where maybe I probably should have had a break. And next time,
Yeah.
because there's always going to be a next time. Next time I get mad, next time I get busy or whatever, I can do this instead. So, yeah, just we want to start becoming aware.
Yeah. And look, you can look at that as an opportunity to figure out areas where you can improve. That's all it is. Not an
Hmm.
area like, oh, this is
Yeah.
something wrong with me. There's judgment, but like, oh, this is interesting. Why did this happen? And it's almost like
Hmm.
journaling, right? We all journal for different things.
Yes.
Food is kind of a way of journaling, and sometimes often a way for us to see those patterns that we mentioned.
So, another good thing that we're going to talk about is daily movement and what that looks like in being consistent.
Mm,
And any kind of daily movement and is where we want to again be curious of where we can get that movement in.
mm,
Moving our bodies is such a really important aspect in our lives, especially if you're in a sitting position all day. um, so taking things that would be again doable, easy, that you could do consistently.
right.
And it doesn't have to be, you know, over the top, like, oh, I got to do this extreme workout. It can literally just be like a 10-minute work or a 2-minute walk.
Right.
And I know we've talked about in previous episodes of finding little ways to get in those movements.
Yeah.
And like Christina, you've talked about when you go to the bathroom and you take the stairs
Right. Right.
to a different bathroom, or doing like the wall sits inside the bathroom.
Yeah, so like Teresa's talking about for tip number two, movement and sneaking in ways to get the movement in throughout the day is really beneficial, and that's where you can really capitalize on the consistency. So like the tips we've talked about before, going if you work in a building with different floors, you can use the stairs to go up and down the stairs. But consistent movement throughout the day is really what's going to help get you
Mhm.
there. Those really long 2 hour exercises you might be able to do every now and then, but some people could probably do those 2 hours a day. But I'm guessing for most people that's just not sustainable. So getting that movement
Mhm.
in, kind of movement, is better than having such a hard workout one day that you're just burnt out for the rest of the week because you're so sore or just zapped your energy. So those consistent steps every single day is what's going to really help. Again, the theme here is consistency. Whatever you choose to do, make sure it's something that you can sustain easily every single day. And like a quote we heard is, you want to choose tips and some activities that you can do even on your worst day. So we all think about, oh, on our best day,
Yes.
this is what I can do. But really, what's going to help get you through, because we all have those bad days, is what you can sustainably do on your worst day. So if you can, on your worst day, go climb stairs or walk around the block, then that is going to be the magic. That's going to be the money. That's what's going to help get you through. So for activity, it can look so different from everyone because everybody has such different
Mhm.
lifestyles, right? So really think about something that's low key you can consistently do. So I know, Teresa, for you like, just even, what was it today that you took the kids out with you, pushing the stroller to do some, get your steps in?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I just did yeah, a quick 30-minute thing and I just a very quick thing. And then as I was like, man, this is so hard. And then I was doing the math of like how much the kids weighed in the stroller, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pushing almost 60 pounds.
yeah.
And then I was like, yeah. And so even though it wasn't my normal run or anything, it was just a very quick 30-minute simple walk run.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel so proud of myself because I got out in the cold, I still did it, um, and pushing almost 60 pounds. So again, it's some days, like you said, Christina, is that is the consistency.
Yeah.
Some days you're just not going to be able to do this long thing. And today I could only do a very short thing. And so,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, I can get out and do that. And that's what matters
Yeah.
is just the consistency of
Right.
keeping up with something that's doable.
Right. Well, and we talk about
Yeah.
this in one of our other episodes too, but a lot of people think that, well, I'm not motivated. I don't feel like doing it. And
Hmm.
girl, we are here to tell you, you cannot wait for the motivation to do this. Sometimes you just got to suck it up
No.
and just do it. The act of starting it is what is going to help build up the motivation. So
Yes.
if you sit there like, oh, today I don't feel like doing it, you need to shift the mindset because yeah, we have to do a lot of things we don't feel like doing, and a lot of the
Yeah.
things to help get you on your weight loss journey to kind of progress is you just have to get over that hurdle
Hmm.
and just do it. So especially with the movement, like it is tough. January, northern hemisphere, it's gray, it's cloudy, it's cold, it's dark all the time.
Yes.
I don't feel like working out just about every single day, but then I remember what I'm trying to actually attain, and then I do it anyways. So you just got to push through that. So yeah, don't fall into that illusion like, oh, I have to be motivated first. No.
Hmm. No.
It's great when it's there, but when it's cloudy and gloomy and rainy, and all you want to do is just hibernate on the couch with some feel good snacks on under a blanket, you need more than just waiting for the motivation to drop in your lap. Yeah, so you just got to move.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. Do it.
Yeah. And usually what's funny is the days that you are like, I just really don't want to.
Yeah.
Once I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah.
And again, I give myself that 10-15 minutes.
Right.
I'm just gonna do it
Yeah.
for I give
Yeah.
it, but those actually become my favorite days that I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so glad I did this. I
Yeah.
needed this.
Yeah.
And I was like, they almost became like my one of my favorite workouts or whatever. And I like today, I was just like, oh man, I really don't want to, but I did it.
Hmm.
And oh, I loved it. And the boys did not want to get out of the stroller. They were so upset.
Like it's over.
They were like, what? And I'm
uh,
like, yeah, we got to move on. And it just, it made
yeah.
me feel really good that the boys had such a great time. And yeah, it was such a memorable. So I almost want to like, yeah, the days I feel like that you're like, no, I'm just not motivated. Those are the days that you usually are your best workouts,
Yeah.
usually.
Or maybe it's even the days that you need it the most. Like when your body is
Yeah.
just saying, nope, don't want to. Maybe that's actually the opposite. Yeah. So yeah, I like that.
Hmm.
That's a great tip, Teresa.
And then I feel like that goes kind of into our
Hmm.
next one of weekly check-ins. So again, we want to be always thinking, being curious. And the reason why keeping logs, keeping track of working out and kind of what's going on is so that you can go back and reflect
Hmm.
of, especially like if you have a day where you did a longer workout and then the next day you're like, oh, maybe I am feeling kind of down, whatever. And if you kind of go back and you're like, oh, okay, maybe if I have a day where I was more extreme, then the next day it's like, okay, maybe I am more gentle with myself.
Mm, yeah.
And then you're starting to be a little bit more again aware, especially for women, our cycles play
Right.
such a huge role in our workouts, things that we need for our body. And so keeping track of these things, it's easier to go back and understand what's going on. Um, Instead of when you don't have any data, you it's there's nothing really to reflect on.
Hmm.
And it's almost like um, I had somebody tell me, like, if you go to a doctor, you want them, you fill out all the forms and stuff
Hmm.
so that they can kind of start narrowing down what's going on. You don't want to go to a doctor's office and then be like, oh, we're going to run this test and all these random tests. You want that data so you can kind of narrow down what's going on.
Yeah.
So again, getting that, being curious with yourself of what is going on. And the only way to get curious and see what's going on is collecting that data.
Yeah. Well, and it's also an opportunity just to check in with yourself to see how you are approaching the routine, whatever routine that you pick for the week. And so, whatever your goal was for the week, you check in to like you said, Teresa, to see like
Mm-hmm.
how is it going, and then to get that curiosity, saying like, oh well, I was logging, but I didn't want to log it this day because I had a bad day. And then that's an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity, like we've mentioned before, it's like, oh, this is curious. Let's check in here to see kind of why you felt like you didn't want to log, or like, oh, I wanted to work out, but I didn't end up doing it because I just didn't feel like it. Then that's an opportunity, like, look at, oh, okay, were you waiting for motivation to kick in in order to do the workout, or maybe the workout you had in mind for that day just was something that maybe is outside of your ability, like maybe you worked out too
Mm-hmm.
hard, and like you said, so like you're too sore or whatever. So those are other ways to check in with yourself, is to make sure, like, kind of like what you are planning on doing is still going to work for you, and if not, get curious about that.
Yeah, because people who pause and reflect don't quit, they adjust.
Hmm.
And so when you figure out like, oh, okay, like maybe this one thing doesn't seem to kind of be working, then like let's adjust that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, collecting that data is a way to reflect. And when you don't have that data, you don't have a way to check in with yourself of truly understanding what's going on. It's almost like you're kind of just throwing a dart randomly all around and hoping something will stick, but you just don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
And so reflecting into yourself and just and those weekly like check-ins with yourself And it's easier to do when you have the data to sit
Yeah,
there and say, oh, and then you can start seeing patterns.
exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, like I have a witching hour at 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I didn't pick up on that until I started collecting that data. Where I was like 2 o'clock, it was like clockwork. I wanted something sweet at two
Mm.
o'clock, and I was like, okay, what's going on at 2 o'clock? It's right before the boys get up from their nap, and it's almost like
Oh,
I'm gearing up, like,
oh, yeah.
okay. But I didn't pick up on that until I was starting to collect that data. And again, it wasn't judgmental. It was just, oh, and then I was able to reflect back throughout that week. And then I just was like, oh, that's interesting that I have a witching hour at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, that's really
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, because it's almost like, okay, it's almost like the calm before the storm of like, oh, I need a moment to myself before like I wake them up, and then it's like I'm gearing myself up. So yeah, like 2 o'clock is my little witching hour that I'm like a little, it's like, oh, I need something sweet before. But yeah, I would have never really picked up on that if I wasn't logging my food,
Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah,
and
and
kind
then
of
so,
keeping track of that.
yeah, even when you check in week to week, which is great, but then over time, like you talked about, now you start picking up on over long-term patterns, trends,
Hmm.
and it's not only just stuff that's not working for you. You can also figure out things that are working for you. Like, oh wow, you know what? This actually, this over here is actually helping this over here. So, for example, like what I'm thinking about, like Teresa, with you, when you started eating more protein in the mornings, that's when you noticed you had
Yes.
those less cravings in the afternoons. So it's
Yeah.
not only to like to pick apart things that aren't working, but it also might highlight some
Right.
things that actually are working for you that you may not realize because at the time they don't seem significant. But then once you are tracking things over time, like, oh wow, that little habit right there is actually giving me really big results. Like you wouldn't
Yes.
think running up and down the stairs at work does much, like 2 minutes here or there
Hmm.
during the day. But there was one time I had to take up some people up the group of flights of stairs for a meeting, and I was just like boom, 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 right up the stairs, and I was talking to them the whole time while I was going up the stairs, and they were like huff and a puff. They're like, "You didn't even like lose your breath," and I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "Oh, you're right," because I always took the stairs, and I would always try to like run up as fast as I could up the stairs. So, but wow, that was like an unexpected result. That it's like, yeah, that is paying off, and it's just a little bit here, a little bit there. It's like, I don't know, investing. You just put a little bit in your
Hmm.
savings account every single day. It's not much, but over time, it really does build up. So, the same thing for consistency with with staying active and with logging your food.
Little things that we don't necessarily think that are making a difference. And day to day, you don't see that. But over time, you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize I could do this. Like, it just, and sometimes it clicks. And then, yeah, bringing awareness, you can see, oh, wow, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, going up the stairs is, to me, that's huge because I go up the stairs, I'm like, I'm totally dying.
Dying. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Like,
Yeah. And now it's like
totally dying.
well,
But
it's funny. I just okay, going off on a little bit of a tangent, but like whenever I go to hotels, I prefer to use the stairs too. So like now I'm just starting to look for other places where I can just use the stairs versus the escalator or the elevator. So
mhm,
it's like something I just started doing at work, but now when I go to other places, normally when I go to hotels, I would never even think to use the stairs. I would just use the elevator.
oh yeah,
But so there are sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just want to use the stairs. And then it's
yeah.
curious because there was this one hotel I was at. I took the stairs, and these stairs did not lead to where I thought they were going to go. I ended up like in this like random kitchen area of the hotel. I'm like, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to be here. But um, so, anyways, but
That's
it was like
funny.
kind of a fun adventure. So you never know where the stairs are going to lead. So, anyways, but so yeah, so every now and then I'll try to take the stairs at the hotel because um, It's just kind of curious because they're not always exactly where you think they're going to go. Anyways, just side little random tip for you with the stairs. But do I take the stairs? Do I go up the stairs with my luggage? No, I do not. At least not yet. but um, but yeah, so that's just an example of like these little habits that over time they kind of become part of your habit, your lifestyle.
Uh,
So yeah, I look for the stairs. But the biggest thing I think with this, if we want to kind of like wrap it up, is that it's
yeah.
consistency, and consistency is not always exciting, and it
Hmm.
cannot always be novel. And so, if you want to change up what you're doing purely because you feel like it's boring, maybe that's not a good enough reason to change it, because the repetitiveness, that consistency is what's going to help get you to your goal. And again, that's another really important reason why to track your things, because um, if you're starting to see just a little bit of results in a positive way, they may not be significant, huge results, but over time they're going to add up. And if you're not really tracking your what you're doing, you might jump ship before you need to, if that makes any sense. Like a lot of times
Yeah.
we're always tempted to like, oh, this person over here, they're doing this and it's working for them. So we want to like jump ship and like go do what they're doing. And then like, oh, somebody over here is doing this new thing. I'm going to jump over there because that's exciting and new. And so you're really doing a disservice to yourself because you're not giving yourself a chance to be consistent enough with patterns and habits. You're not forming those habits because, like we talked about, you have to be able to get these to the point where they're almost automatic. And on your worst day, you can still do them. And so
Yeah.
that consistency is what's going to help. And we often have to keep going even longer than we think we do to see the results we want to see. Because we typically kind of get impatient. We start seeing other people's results. We want what they have, but we're just not giving ourselves a chance to see the results of what we're doing. So that
Hmm.
would be my biggest suggestion for not only being consistent, but being consistent longer than you want to be. And it's not always exciting. And that's why you've got to
Yeah.
get these habits in place, because that's what's going to carry you through.
Right. Yeah. Because consistency isn't glamorous,
Mm,
but it works. And there, no matter what you do, um, if you're doing it long enough, there is a point where it becomes bland, it becomes boring, it's not exciting anymore. And that's literally with anything in your
mm,
life.
yeah.
I mean, find all the things that you bought on Amazon. You're like, oh, my life, my life is going to change. I'm going to be so much happier. And then you just get bored and you're like, oh, I haven't, that literally becomes anything in your life.
Yeah.
But creating these habits, like you said, even on your worst days, um, how do you want to show up for yourself on your worst day?
Yeah.
I think um, that's where you want to think. And
Yeah.
yeah, log your food, move your body, check in weekly, and yeah, repeat longer than you think you need to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, so for that, everybody, definitely let us know if these tips work for you, if they resonate. Tell us how you have applied these, and definitely share this with someone you know if right now they're kind of hitting the wall where they want to give up on
Mhm.
their New Year's resolution and they just kind of want to fall back onto their old habits. Share this with them so they can get remotivated and keep going, because you guys, you got this.
Strong women,
Strong village,
no sugar.
all love.
Until next
All
time.
right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and watching. All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
Take care. All right.
Okay,
Love you, sis. Bye.
bye. Love you, sis. Bye.